Hey there, it's Dr. Charlotte Hodges, and I am just on an evening stroll. It's interesting, on this video, it actually looks a bit brighter than really what it is in real life, so I find that kind of interesting, but I digress. So, what do I want to chit-chat with you guys about today? Let's talk about holiday foods. So, the holidays are coming up. We have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, we have, well, I guess we have New Year's too. But usually the only thing we eat on that is black-eyed peas. So, oh yeah, and the cabbage. But anyway, I digress. So, I'm starting to get more and more questions about what can I, and more importantly, what can I not eat on my post-operative diet. Both within the 6-week post-operative diet, but then also for my patients that they're past that post-operative diet, but maybe they're only 4 months out from surgery. So they're still kind of in that taste and see kind of time period. So let's get started and let's take it by week, because I think that might help. So certainly I have a group of patients that like to get their surgeries performed on the week of a major holiday because they already have that time off. And quite honestly, if you're doing it that week, you're only going to be doing clears. My mom did this when she had her surgery. I believe she had her surgery on December 23rd. For folks that are having their surgery on the week of one of these major holidays, I'd recommend just continue to do your broth. Quite honestly, you may find that all the scents and the different aromas from all the holiday baking, it might be a little bit overwhelming. It was for my mom. We have a 2-story house, and when I was cooking, she kind of hightailed it upstairs because she said, you know, the smells are just too much. And so that's not uncommon. So if you do want to have a good clear liquid though, maybe the scents aren't bothering you, you want to be able to sit down with your family, why don't you get somebody to make a little bit of a turkey soup, and you can have the broth from that turkey soup. It can have all that good juice and all the good flavoring. I mean, you can use a little bit of the base from what you cooked your turkey in, and then kind of maybe just add a little bit of chicken broth to kind of thin it out. But all those wonderful juices and flavorings and the turkey rub, all that can be, you know, infused into a good clear liquid broth. Won't hurt you at all, so go for it. And again, if you want to have popsicles, I don't mind. If you want to have your coffee or tea, I don't mind. So when everybody's sitting around with their after dinner coffee, guess what? You can have yours too. I do not mind. So sip away. Now, what do we do about our patients in the full liquid diet portion? So when you're in your full liquids, that's going to be thicker liquids, so nothing with lumps or bumps. Again, this is probably a time whenever whoever's preparing the bird or the ham or you name it, this is probably be a good time for them to try to make you set some of the juices aside to make a little bit of a soup for you, but you may want to make it like a creamed soup. There's also some wonderful recipes for creamed sweet potato soups, a carrot soup. I know that sounds, I've had a carrot soup. There's this amazing restaurant here in Dallas called Rise. It's the souffle restaurant. And as a side note, I'm going to put on some recipes on how to make a souffle. It's actually not that difficult. And they have this amazing carrot soup. And I'm not even a big carrot person. And it is so good. So I would definitely recommend that if there is probably some type of vegetable that's being served at your dinner, why don't you try to see if you can blend it into one of these cream soups or in a soup with a spicy base. Again, that's not going to hurt anything, and that might give you a tasty option. And again, you can also have your coffee or tea with everyone. If you want to make a milkshake with your Halo Top, I mean, you could even take like some of the pumpkin spice flavoring and put that in some vanilla Halo Top, and then add in some Fairlife milk and make you a little pumpkin milkshake, add a little extra Gene Pro. There you go. You have your little pumpkin spice milkshake. Actually sounds pretty good. So why don't you try that? And, you know, if you're adding in the Gene Pro to your Halo Top, it's probably going to give you about a 30 to 40 gram protein supplement and just a small amount of liquid, and it will taste really good. Okay, so if anybody actually wants to try that, let me know. I don't have any pumpkin spice flavoring at the house, but if anybody tries it, give me a shout out on my Instagram or Facebook and let me know what y'all thought about it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna take a little walk across. Hang on one second, I'm crossing the street. And I think it's kind of funny. I'm out walking and there's some high schoolers behind me, and my husband, he always calls these little high schoolers the street toughs. And they're the complete antithesis of that. It's just kind of funny to me. Anyway, so getting on. Now, what about all my sweet little patients? They've made it past the clear liquids. They've powered through the full liquids, and now they are finally able to semi-chew on something in their soft diet. What can they do? And this is whenever your variety becomes much, much bigger. So going down the list of things you can and can't do. When you are on your soft diet, you cannot have turkey. You cannot have ham. That is, and please don't grind it up. That is gross. It'll be too dry. It'll be too dense. You just can't have it. Not going to happen. I don't want you to grind it up and put on turkey gravy. It's going to be too dense. So just know that you can have your turkey next year or at the next holiday. However, where you're going to have success is really with a lot of the side dishes. So for most people with these holidays, people will do mashed potatoes. If you're doing mashed potatoes and you're adding in the butter and the milk and salt and pepper, that's fine. You can totally do that. Sometimes people might make like twice baked potatoes that have the cheese and the bacon bits and all those. Those are absolutely lovely. You cannot have those. That is going to have bits in it that are too dense. It's going to make you feel sick. So please don't do those. But you could do whipped potatoes, totally fine. The other thing that you can also do is if you want to do mashed yams or mashed sweet potatoes, with the caveat of it just needs to be a more savory version, meaning it's just made with salt, pepper, maybe a little butter, maybe a little milk. When I was in residency and I would prepare Thanksgiving, I always made this stuff called Charlotte's Sweet Potato Heaven. Oh my gosh, I do not know how everybody did not become diabetic after they had those sweet potatoes. I kid you not, I would add in a cup of sugar, white sugar, and then I think it was a half a cup of brown sugar, and then butter, heavy cream to the sweet potatoes. And then on top, once all that was mixed together, then on top I made a crust with more brown sugar, more butter, and pecans. And sometimes I might put a little bit of marshmallow, but not usually. If somebody is making something similar to Charlotte's Sweet Potato Heaven, oh my God, you will be in a diabetic coma. You cannot have that. I mean, you talk about dumping syndrome city. Please stay away from super sugary mashed sweet potatoes, okay? But if, like I said, if they're a more savory version where no extra sugars have been added, you can certainly have that. And that really goes for any one of the potato dishes. If somebody's making a gratin, so maybe like a scallop potato, you can do that. That's usually nice and soft. If y'all are making mac and cheese, you can have like the noodles and the cheese that are like in the middle portion where everything's soft. You cannot have that yummy, crunchy, gooey, melted cheese layer on top. Please don't do that, because I'll be getting a call. Dear Dr. Hodges, food is impacted. You need to come pull it out. Please don't do that. You don't want that. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. So save the toppings for next year. But for the meantime, you can have the stuff underneath. Probably no green bean casserole. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, if you want to do cranberry sauce, You can do the kind of cranberry sauce that my mom would do, which is basically get that can of cranberry and you just kind of stick it out and you chop it up. Not like real cranberries where you go and get the real cranberries and you cook them down. You can't have the real kind. You have to get, if you want to do the cranberry, you have to do the kind of canned cranberry that's like in a gel, that's kind of a gelatin type thing, okay? I know my mom, a lot of times she would make this Jell-O mold. It still kind of grosses me out thinking about it. She loved it. I think everybody in the 70s loved a Jell-O mold. And if somebody makes that, you can have the Jell-O, but you just can't have that fruit that's kind of suspended inside of the mold. That will be too dense. When it comes to desserts, if you want to do pumpkin pie, you can have a little bite of like that pumpkin pie filling portion, but I do not want you doing any crust, and I most certainly don't want you doing any pecan pie. No pecans, and certainly not that gooey, yummy middle part. That's just pure sugar, which of course is why it tastes good. Please stay away from the pumpkin pie. That probably also goes for any, if any fruit cobblers or fruit pies are made. Those are just going to be way too dense. So really, for your soft diet at the holiday, if you're eating some of the traditional foods, I would recommend that you kind of stick with the mashed potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes, maybe some mac and cheese. Oh, if you want to do dressing, try to stick with more of a cornbread dressing. And if you're like my family, we put everything under the sun in it, you'd have to kind of push that stuff aside. Like, I don't want you doing the bits of chicken or turkey in it. I don't want you doing a lot of the celery or the onions, any of that stuff that might be in your dressing. And you'll probably need to add a little bit of turkey gravy to it, just so it's a little moist, so it's not too dry. Watch out if you're making your dressing from bread, because that's going to be too dense and too gooey. It's going to get stuck, and you'll just be miserable. So I really feel like for these holidays, you usually can't go wrong if you just stick with a lot of the sides, but please stay away from the meat, and also stay away from all the rolls. No rolls, no buns, no tortillas. No, you can't have it. I don't care if it's gluten-free. So keep that till next year. So that's for soft food. Now, what do you do when you're a month or two out from surgery? What can you have? Well, technically, there are no restrictions on your diet. You can have whatever you'd like. But the reality is that it's not going to be like a light switch going on and off. I mean, when you're on your soft diet and you're doing your Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, I recommend that you just start off with a little saucer, and you get 2 tablespoons worth in total of what you want. So 2 little tablespoons. Okay, so little plops of each, and just do that. Depending on how far out you are, you may still want to kind of keep with that same amount for your regular diet too. Just start off with maybe a saucer or a salad plate worth of food. Don't get a whole lot because it may feel like it gets stuck. Go slow. If you're going to be eating turkey, you need to put some gravy on it. I would probably, for the first couple of months, stay away from ham or any of the sausages. Those will get stuck. Please don't eat those right now. But if you do want to do turkey, you probably want to add a little gravy to it. And the other thing that you might want to do is maybe stick with some of the darker meat, because when people are making turkeys, a lot of times they tend to overcook them and they get dry. And certainly if you're eating turkey breast, that can be pretty dry. That will feel like it gets stuck. So you might want to stick with some of the darker meats. And definitely add a little turkey gravy. If people have salads, you may, or spinach, you may be a little wary of doing those because that might be a little bit too stringy and that might feel like it gets stuck. Most of the sides you will be able to tolerate. You still may find that if something has a really gooey, thick topping, like some of the homemade mac and cheeses, that still might be a little bit too much, even if you're a couple of months out from surgery. I think the bottom line is, once you're on your regular food, just listen to your body. If food is denser, it will fill you up a lot quicker. And so also watch out for different sauces. There's a lot of sugars in those sauces. They could definitely make you feel nauseated. So I hope that this has really helped you guys. I really want you to enjoy your time with your family. In the end, it's not about the food, it's about the family. And I really want you guys to have a good holiday season. And if anybody has any ideas about different types of recipes, please send them to me. And like I said, I'll be posting some more recipes throughout this holiday season. So y'all have a good one. Hope this helped.